Today's activity focuses on painting pumpkins, and we're going to talk about how to set up a painting activity indoors and then what happens when your painting activity goes wrong. So let's fix that and let's get started. When I do indoor activities, I always like to be in the kitchen. First, because that's usually where I am, and second, because I have access to the water very close by. For activities that we're not actually doing a project and we're using our hands mostly, we are going to use finger painting. This is a little bit thicker than washable paint, so it's a little more gooey and it's gonna feel a little more like thick when it comes to painting. I have a feeling she's gonna use her hands, so that's why I'm like, let's just do finger paints, but you can use washable paint as well. So I chose only 2 colors just to give her a variation, but just enough that it's not like too much. I'm putting a little bit on the tray just because I want to see if she wants to like maybe play with the tray or dip her fingers into painting, and I'm giving her a paintbrush so that we always start with just, a painting activity with a brush. Everything is going according to plan. I set her up right next to the kitchen sink in case that we need some water. So I gave her a little pumpkin and a big pumpkin just to give her some variation. Use what you have at home. If you have 1 pumpkin, use 1 pumpkin. If you have more, you can do more. If you don't have a real one, but you have a fake one, just use what you have. I set up the activity in a tray just because I know her coordination is not going to stay just in the pumpkin. So leaving the activity inside the tray is going to allow the activity to stay in the tray. She's not gonna be painting the counters or anything like that. And this is the part where things get interested, right? Like you see it on Pinterest and they're painting the pumpkins, but then that's not really what happens. She's painting her mouth, she's painting her hands. So this is the time where I'm like, it's time to shift the activity. Her attention is away from the pumpkin and we need to change what we're doing. At this moment, I see she's actually interested in how the paint feels. So I'm going to take her paintbrush away and I'm going to direct her to paint the pumpkin with her hands. The activity is changing. Now we are going to be actually painting in the tray. I want her to feel the experience of the paint because that's what she seems to be interested in. At the same time, we are keeping the activity inside the tray. I want her to feel what it feels to paint the pumpkin with her hands. At this point, she has only used the paintbrush, so I'm directing her to take her messy hands and just paint the pumpkin with her hands. And that's what I'm trying to do. She still seems to be interested in just the paint itself. So at this point, I said, fine, I think the pumpkin idea, it's done. Let's try to shift our activity. I don't want to keep giving her more and more and more paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a bucket. So we're going to wash the pumpkins. Some kids like to cover themselves in paint. They like to cover themselves in blankets. This is actually called a play schema. This is something that they need to take in the world to understand how their brain is working and making connections. These play schemas is something we're going to be talking about next month, but just know that she is actually doing something that's age appropriate and is expected, and now I can see what she's doing and we can go ahead and tweak our activities, but we'll talk about that next month. Right now we need to talk about washing these pumpkins because she is covered in paint, so now we need to kind of do cleanup and we are going to involve her in the cleanup. So I'm going to put a little bit of soapy water, I'm getting rid of the paints, get them away from her side, and now it's time to wash. I'm giving her soap as part of the activity so that she can explore the texture of that. What I actually want her to do is to wash her hands, but I'm including it into the play. I'm telling her to swish, 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 to look at the bubbles, and then just to explore that. At the same time, we're just cleaning her hands. And if you did the activity from last month, you're going to see that she is going to remember one of the things that we were working on, which was playing with the bubbles. She identifies them, she's blowing them, she's moving them. So she's making connections between our lesson plan for last month and then this lesson plan. So now we're just washing the pumpkins and we're just gonna wash her hands, and that's gonna be the end of our activity. This is how you extend an activity when things don't go as planned. You just extend it and you include them in the process. So don't be afraid to explore with a little bit of paint. Just make sure that you are close to the water, that you are prepared, that you have the outfit that's going to get messy, and then just have some fun. Water always saves the day. And that's the end of today's lesson. I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.